Is this thing on? Are we live? Hi guys. That's what a lot of people want me to do. I'm getting a lot of comments lately about why you sound like a radio host? Because I'm a goddamn host, and you're all used to people on Twitch just going, "Hey guys, let's hang out," and I'm gonna be who I am. All right. So sorry, I got headphones on so I can actually hear the mix. Sorry, I talk in a clear and concise voice as I stumble over concise. Sorry, I do say a lot still too. We're here on another episode of the Blathering. I'm not even salty today. I'm where a lot of you are. Emotions everywhere. Sadness, rage, feelings of being overwhelmed, apathy, wanting to run away, wanting to run at it. We're all here today, and we are, I think, starting the week. Is it a Monday? Yeah, I had to take a Saturday show off. Lost my voice after a Friday night improv show. 100% true story. It was kind of embarrassing. I was like on stage, like, "You're next, comic," and lost it all. So I thank you all for letting me rest up. But happy to have you all here. We've got some people already checking in, like Detective McCarsall, who might be in a car. Carbon Swap, that's Chris. Laserball's here. He's calling it, or he's watching from a snowbank. Ingvia is here, and Addie is on a train again. Yes, Addie's adventures in New York. We'd have to get the update on. She can't call in today from the train, but thanks for the travel advice. Starbucks was home base, and I even rode the subway myself 4 times. Yes, already planned on my next trip. Big city wasn't so bad for all. And a very generous super chat from Addie. I appreciate that. Jared, the super chat. Bring all the Pats hate. Your tears sustain me. You know, I want to just rip into Jared, the Patriots fan, but he gifted 5 channel memberships as well. Channel memberships are how you call into the show. And tonight, I'd love to have you call in with advice questions. It's Advice Monday. You got some advice, big or small. It can be serious. It can be something silly. Call in. Very happy with Sinful Confession Thursday we had last week, and producer Steve and I are working on making that into even a bigger segment. Having some fun with that. So thank you all for making my radio talk show host dreams come true. We also, as I played up top here, let me take care of a little bit of housekeeping before I bring producer Steve. I will be in La Jolla February 7th with Mark Ellis. At least one show, possibly 2 shows, the way they kind of do it there. I have to double check. Am I working 2 shows? I got to figure that out. Mark Ellis, our friend, our buddy, our hero, is in La Jolla. That's down near San Diego. It's the La Jolla Comedy Store. He's doing 2 nights, February 6th and 7th. Jen Sturger is featuring for him on the 6th, and I've got the 7th. Go ahead. If you're local, if you can get on out, go support Mark there on any of the nights. And if you happen to come out one of the nights that I'm there, we'll have a lot of fun there as well. So that's some business there. Consider checking out the Patreon page, as it is tough economic times for everyone, as Steve and I will be discussing here. But if you want to join the team, call in, get on in there. New episode of Pop Rockin' Radio coming, and I got the footage of a stand-up set I did Saturday night that was like not a great set. It was an interesting night, and I did some not even crowd work, had some crowd moments that I just maybe want to share. So that's going on. So that's all the things going on in my world today, other than this new sweatshirt that I ordered, and it actually came a size too big. You know, you order things online and you think, I'll bring in producer Steve for this one. Maybe he can help me. Steve, you ever order something online from a questionable source because you're like, "Oh, I like that little hoodie," and then it shows up 13 sizes too small?
Yeah, Ken, I spent my college years spending Bitcoin buying things that were questionable in size and legality, and would probably be worth like tens of thousands of dollars now. So I know exactly what you mean. That hoodie looks like something that should be in like an early 90s hip hop music video, like as like a background dancer with maybe some Zubaz pants, and you're just like going to town, like doing like twirls and stuff.
Thank you. It came as advertised. I ordered a 2X, and I probably needed to order an extra large. So I'm going to shrink it down. Yeah, no, thank you. So I have a white and black aesthetic on stage, and so I was like, I need something a little more than a T-shirt. I'm not happy with the way my jackets look. You ever reach that point too? I've had my denim jackets for too long. They're all kind of shriveled and shrunk, and I'm just not happy with the way I look on stage, Steve.
Yeah, you look like a futuristic referee, Ken. Like in 30 years when like Zoomers are like NFL referees and they want to look cool, like they're gonna have broccoli haircuts and they're gonna wear those hoodies.
I love when a lot of sports. I don't think that they do this as much now because I think we're in the future. But especially in the '90s, there was a lot of like future nights, and they do like here's what the baseball uniforms will look like in 2012,
Right?
And they were like UFO based, kind of like weird. They all kind of look like this.
Everything's on a hoverboard. Yeah, exactly. Right.
There's some great footage. There's like some Ken Griffey Jr. highlights of some of those nights. When it's just like, did you think? And for some reason, they all think the logos are going to be this giant, just all over the shirts. Here we go.
Oh yeah, everything's beveled. Oh yeah.
Yes, I love a good beveling. We are going to talk some sports tonight. Later on, My question is to be answered later, Steve. For you to ponder as a sports fan, how the hell did the Patriots do this already? And don't we deserve better?
Clearly, look at the state of the world, Ken. Clearly, we don't deserve better. I think this is just another sign of the times. Like it's just another. Like, of course, the Patriots are good again. Of course, our country is falling into authoritarianism. Of course, nothing. Of course, food is too expensive. So yeah, I mean, honestly, it's par for the course.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Seahawks and their horrible uniforms, but I'm going to be rooting for them. We'll talk about that. Speaking of the Seahawks, look like they're wearing turn ahead the clock uniforms. That's my problem with them.
They do. They do. They look like they're trying a little hard. It's like I've always said they kind of look like the Oregon of the NFL because Oregon does that in the college game. They wear like a different highlighter uniform every week. Yeah.
Yep. We've got Kyle Harlow. Hi, Kyle. Blather coin is on the rise. We should launch a Blather meme coin, take everyone's money, and hightail it the hell out of here like Hawk Tua. Just do it.
Well, we're not supposed to announce it on the front end, Ken, but
you don't just do that?
Yeah. No, we're supposed to hype it up and make people like Jared think it's actually a good idea, and then we get him to invest in the Blather coin, and then as soon as he does, then we pull the rug, and then we give the keys to the YouTube channel to like Brady and say, "Here you go, Brady. Thursdays, Saturdays, and Mondays."
Get at it.
And then we're just on an island. Yeah,
we're gonna take that money and spit on that thing and get on out of here. Is what we're gonna do. Ingvia says, "Hey, look here. Just bring Dorina back on the show to help say the name correctly." I'm going to get drinks with Dorina and some friends tonight. I think I'll just say, "Hey, tell me how to say this. Tell me how to say this." General Cameroni is here, swinging over from the Force Center world. One of the things we're talking about some sports. Please, seriously, if you got some advice calls, it's really fun. Let's do this. But Steve is slowing down a little bit here right now. Obviously, the state of the world continues just rolling on with a lot of just horrendous things we're trying to process. I put out an episode of Monday Morning Show, just kind of being honest where I'm at. And just how we're all trying to function while protecting our peace, but still trying to find a way to get through just the world at large. But here in our country, we broadcast from America. We do have listeners in other parts of the world. You're dealing with similar things as well. But with the Trump administration, just the steamroller of oppression that continues to race over us, and just a straight up execution on camera this weekend with the death of Alex Preddy. And all the things around that, I have been really saying rage is great, posting, getting it out, getting angry. But I don't want to be always, and again, sometimes I think there's value, but I don't always be the ones that's like on a show going, "Did you see that?" And that's kind of the end of the conversation. We all saw it. We all felt it. How are the best ways forward? And one of the things, does that make sense of just being in a spot of, I don't have the answers, but can we start talking about answers?
Yep. I don't think you're saying don't voice exactly what you said, right? It's okay to voice the upset opinions. It's okay to yell into the clouds and to post into the clouds and say, "Hey, I'm upset about this. It's like, okay, and that's all I'm saying. I'm like, and and what? Like, what are we going to do about this? Right? Like, cause I've talked about this with my family. I've talked about it, like thinking to myself, like, okay, what can I do realistically? Right? Like, let's start putting pen to paper on ideas. Do you know who your city council members are? Do you know who your local government officials are? Have you reached out to them about, my first thing was I literally emailed my local officials like, "Hey, dumb idea. Can we stop paying federal taxes? What if the state of Virginia just stops paying federal taxes to the government? What does that look like? What options are on the table? I'm an idiot. I'm a moron. I just want to know and reach out and feel like I'm doing something." So that's what I did.
That's great.
So it's like just something. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I have all the answers, but like like, let's take an act and let's talk about that. And I think that's important. That the continuing to talk about it is really important. So I'm like you. I don't want to take swipes at people who are like voicing their concern online, but like I want to talk about like, okay, so like, what are we gonna like? What can we do? Like, I want to be constructive about it, not all like shame about it. You know?
Yeah, 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 and that's always big on my heart, and also just trying to cut through some of the noise. But I don't even want to. That sounds even antagonistical. That's not what I'm saying here in this particular moment. I'm just saying there's a difference to me. Like I still kind of have a president death watch pool in my own head, which is cathartic to look at photos and think, it's time, mother trucker. Like I'm at that point, but that's not productive, right?
Right.
That's not productive. And so following what's going on this weekend, like websites, and I'll drop a link here in chat. We talked about this on Force Center. I put some stuff out there. This is the Stand with Minnesota YouTube page. And if anyone hasn't seen it there, that's just, it's about gathering all the information, because I think even when, that's why I say cut through the noise, even with the best of intentions, there is a lot of just information out there. Did you hear? Here's where you should put your thing, and meaning your help, your attention, and there's things like standwithminnesota.com that are like, here's all the information for us. It's also a good blueprint on when this comes to your city, and at this point, it most likely will come to your city, especially if you're in a big metropolitan area. Like we should kind of look at what this city has done. To help each other, help the people that can't leave their houses to get food for fear of being captured. We can't, Target's pulling in Hispanic employees from the loading docks because they don't want to be taken. Like all that stuff's going on. Like, oh, here are the steps. So I think that's part of it. But one of the things, in my ramble here, to get to the meat of what I want to talk about with you, Steve, is you had mentioned this a couple weeks ago, and it's been around before, and the idea of a general strike, and actually more specifically a general economic strike. And I hear that and go, yeah, sounds good. I don't know. Sure. Tell me when. And it's so easy to get cynical, but it's also, we are stuck in a capitalistic system here in our country where to stop the hamster wheel is detrimental. I'm short rent in March. You know what I mean? Like that's my reality, and I'm one of many. So I wanted to talk a little bit in about what does that actually mean? What are the logistics? I was watching video today, and you've got a lot of thoughts. This is something been on your mind as well, right?
Yeah, thanks, Ken. And yeah, I've done some research. I've looked into this. This is one of those things that when we started talking about like, okay, what could we actually do? What does action actually look like? This is one of those things that came to mind is like you said, what could actually stop the hamster wheel? What is actually what could actually impact change? And we saw like a little flavor of this when the world stopped with COVID. Right. And I think the what we saw with COVID is almost like a realistic blueprint of what is possible or how some of this could work. In my opinion, again, I'm just a moron on the internet, but I put some stuff together, having done some of the research and put just some bullet points together. So our biggest question and hurdle about what all this is, right, is it's not necessarily will a strike work or will people stop working. It's how do we feed people once we start a strike? Okay, because that's why it hasn't happened yet, right? Because we have to deal with the logistics of what that really looks like, right? You could have a huge strike in New York City. You could have the whole city shut down. That's not going to impact an entire third of the country that just doesn't day to day have a centralized, like our country's too big and too decentralized for it to work like that. The way that you see traditional strikes in Paris and in Europe in the last 30 years, where they just shut down the capital city and the country rolls over belly up, right?
Right.
That's
an excellent point. Yeah.
That doesn't work here. You'd have to get New York, LA, Chicago. You'd have to get every major city to do it all at once. So you have to think about the realisticness of that, right? The actual feasibility of that. So what can you do, right? I think how you could actually get this to work is having your state leadership, your states specifically. Again, in this case, it would be blue states, obviously, but you get as many states and local leadership governments to go together and say, like, okay, what kind of funds can they put together based on whether it's stuff that they have tucked away for different emergencies or they have all sorts of creative ways of finding money, just like they did during the pandemic, right? To fund this kind of stuff. Is that available? You have to have local activists organized to get people to get on board with this. You need money. At the end of the day, you need someone to fund this. You need a benevolent billionaire or a collective of people to say, we're going to put a pool of money in to help a certain labor class get through a certain amount of time, or you specifically target an industry that says, hey, everyone who works for a bank, we're just going to shut all the banks down, or you're going to, you know what I mean? Like, because if you go if you go nurses, if you go hospitals, if you go every emergency service and schools and all this kind of stuff, you're showing chaos essentially.
Right.
So there are, if we're going to talk about this, and if we're really, this is really going to be an idea, we have to actually think about, like, how do you actually do this, right? So that's what I kind of started looking into and started reading a bunch of different reports about. And it's, there's a reason we haven't done it already. And it's because it's really, really hard, but it doesn't mean we can't do it. And I'm just of the opinion that we need to start having this conversation, and we need to start thinking about, like, if not this, then what? If not this, then what can we do? Is my opinion.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at, Ken.
Yeah, and this would be if pulled off. And again, no one I've heard has said it's easy, right? No one has said, "Hey, ring up Bill Gates' ex-wife, see if she's got a checkbook open." Like, no one said that. And hey, maybe that's the way. Let's reach out to her. She's very generous. But yeah, it's just the reality of where the punch is going. And I was listening to some folks on the internet today. I'll take some of their words and paraphrase it because I just thought it was interesting. But just the idea of protests are valuable. Protests have noise to them. Protests usually target politicians. Also, I think that kind of pressure does work. We're seeing even today these small, tiny cracks that aren't necessarily going to change anything, but they're cracks nonetheless. Short stack bovino being moved out of Minnesota with other agents to sow discord and chaos in other areas, I'm sure. But bovino being moved out of Minnesota, Kristi Noem being kind of moved off the case a little bit with Tom Homan coming in there, who's I hate just as much, and give him $50,000 in a bag. I guess he's happy, but he, also, and we should point out, Obama appointee, for whatever that's worth, just to give the full picture of it. And even some of the wording of some recent statements in the last hours or two I've been looking at, of just showing that the pressure of the being vocal, of being present, of being in the street, and also just the fact that we know the truth of Alex Preddy's murder is because we have people out there in the streets filming and doing their constitutional rights. But that kind of stuff can burn off, right? No King's Day is great. I've been to them. Awesome. That kind of stuff can burn off, which leads to cynicism. And politicians can outlast that passion if they want to. But we are because we're in a capitalistic society, as we know, as we've all felt, if it hits the pocketbook of the corporations, of the shareholders, of even if enough people unsubscribe from ChatGPT, they'd have to report that in their next earnings calls. We lost 10% of our people. That is what is effective. It's just getting there. And hearing that today started to make more sense today. Like it's almost like a silent action in a way, meaning you almost don't have to go out in the street. We should still have that. I want to be clear about that because I do think that kind of stuff works. But this is just, as COVID showed, literally all inside, it can affect us. But if now it's done with an ideology behind it to push for, I don't even say push for change, just to push for all this to stop. I don't know. That kind of made me focus in on, all right, how do we even talk about it? Which is what we're trying to do here.
Exactly. And I think you're absolutely right. I think seeing the cracks in what we could call progress, I guess, in Minnesota with supposedly the feds agreeing to take some of their presence out of there. I mean, at this point, it's decreasing troops from an occupation, if you really want to call it what it is. But saying that they'll pull some of those guys out. That's part of what the strike stuff and part of what the action plan, that gets put together, and part of what this conversation is too, Ken, is what does success look like? We have to have real goals. If at the end of this you demand every single Republican in Congress their head on a spike, then it's going to be tough to organize that. You know what I mean? You have to have realistic goals. And I think at this point, getting rid of ICE is not a pie in the sky goal. Like we've seen that this is a government agency that's overstepped, and we've existed for 200 years without it. It doesn't mean we can't do it, continue. We can reform an agency that takes care of immigration control that isn't
Right.
a police kidnapping and killing people on the street.
I agree.
So I think we're even seeing some of those Democrats that voted to fund the DHS are already backtracking, and the Senate is now saying they're not going to fund. So that's a whole other
thing. Yeah.
A whole other bag of worms of disappointment, really, and what we're seeing the lack of opposition on the political spectrum. I mean, we've seen some good. I've heard good statements from folks, but like that's it. That's what we're getting. We're getting statements. The best statement, the best actionable statement I heard from anybody in the last 2 days has been like from the freaking NBA, like coming out and being like, "Hey, we postponed a game. You know, we're doing all this. Like, this is bullshit." Steve Kerr came out and said stuff like, at least they're like saying stuff, and they're not like in the arena of politics where it's their civic responsibility to like work on this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, they're getting people talking about it. They're getting kids to ask their parents about it. You know what I mean? Like that's where people like, I know people laugh at that kind of stuff where it's like, oh, who cares about like what the basketball players say? But like, there's a real conversation there going on where like young people who aren't engaged in this stuff at all hear Steve Kerr talk about it, or hear a player like several NBA players have said it in post-game press conferences the last few days. And then that kid, again, I lived this experience, then talks to the Republican dad about it and says, oh, this is effed up, this is screwed up, all this kind of stuff happening. And now you've started a discourse and get a kid thinking on different kind of paths, and you're starting a conversation into how you talk about things and we move forward as a society. So that's, you know, I thought that was an interesting little tidbit about this whole conversation. But I think everyone is going up in arms like, do something. I'm like, okay, yes, let's do something. What are we going to do? What do we want to do? Like, let's talk about that.
Yeah, and I look at it. By the way, I think I said Bill Gates' exits. Actually, I was thinking of Bezos, as you had put that in your notes, right?
Both.
Mackenzie.
But honestly, we'll take both. We'll take both. I mean, they both got a nice chunk. Like, they can both chip in. It's fine.
Isn't it something that it's the quote unquote ex-wives, these ladies, and Dolly Parton, our hero, who take all their money and do things.
Save us, Dolly.
Taylor Swift, even just Taylor Swift bonusing out her crew is better than a lot of these Musks and Bezos and Gates and all these. Well, take it back. I know Gates does. There's things Gates does. Let me take that back. But even that, you know what I mean.
There's the whole can of worms. Anyway.
There's some stuff in your notes about what's the amount of participants we need to have a meaningful impact.
Good question. So a lot of studies talk about what's called the 3.5% rule. So in order for a general strike in what are considered first world economies, the modern world, whatever have you, you need 3.5% of the labor force to just not wake up and go to work. Well, you want them to wake up, but you don't want them to go to work. Sorry, I said that poorly. You want 3.5% of the labor force to participate in the strike. But a lot of studies and a lot of economists who have put, you know, I've read reports from Northwestern. I read something that came out of Harvard that was both like, I read things, Ken. That was like,
I watched things today.
3.5% is the idea, but like realistically, in an economy as robust as the United States, with how decentralized you are, you probably have to double or triple that in order for it to like actually work. So we're talking close to 100 million people to participate in something like this over a short period of time. You know, because 3.5% is like 11 to 15-ish million people is what the early estimates say for that 3.5% rule. But the idea is that we're so beyond that, we would need a significant overshooting of that, essentially, right? So you would need the amount of people that watch the Super Bowl, basically. That's how I would look at it. Like, think about how can you get in the amount of people who watch the Super Bowl to decide, we're not gonna go to work for a week, whatever it is. That was really bad math, so I tried.
No, you, Professor Addy, enjoyed you showing your math and great. No, all that makes sense. And again, the cynicism is not. I don't even think it's cynicism. I think it's just realistic to wonder like how can you get anyone to care? Across the board, I don't necessarily care about other things. Like I struggle, but I still use Spotify. I have to for a show, but I can switch it. I use the word have to, but do I have there's that, and that's me. How do as I've been talking about the last couple of weeks of just the reality of, and I'll say this, I'll never stop saying this. I do think there's just a large percentage of people that don't even know this is going on. And it's not that there is the see and turn away, which this is getting really hard to. Heather Cox Richardson talked about that. This moment is one of those, it's now almost impossible to turn away from. But look at voter turnout historically. Once we all, in theory, got the right to vote, after it moved on from, white property owners and all through the 17, 18, and 1900s. Look at the voter turnout rates are always abysmal because no one thinks this affects them. So that's where the realism steps into the picture of how do we get them to engage. And that's also part of what I'm interested in talking about is like how can and how do you in the right way speak to some folks, quote, on the other side, not to convert them, not to change them, but to at least get involved enough or to open their eye. I don't know I don't have the answer. It's just caught where my heart is a lot of the time.
I think one of the I have a really hard time talking about this with folks who are close to me and in my family who are conservative and vote Republican, just because I feel very strongly about it. They feel very strongly about it, and it's hard to have like a leveled conversation about that often, especially with family because you have all your own biases. But honestly, I think the goal in having the conversation, or at least starting with knowing you're on opposite sides, is we need to know what is the red line. Like what, because if we don't have a red line, if we don't have a basis, like we need the line in the sand that's like, like what is the point of no return? What is the Rubicon? Like, because if we don't have that, then we're just being tribalists. Then we're just team red and team blue just for the sake of it, right? Like then it's just the Patriots and the Giants, like or the Dolphins or the Bills. Like I just don't you don't even care. So is the red line federal officers, the state shooting a dude 5 times in the back who's protesting and doesn't have his gun or whatever? Like I would want to know what that, like, where is your line, Mr. Reagan conservative?
Yeah, trampling on the
absolutely right.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you're absolutely right about this whole idea that like some people like, and it's hard. I know a lot of people listening and hearing you say people don't know. Like a lot of people, especially our favorite blue sky liberals, like think to themselves, how is that possible? Like there's no way everybody knows. Like no, not everyone's as terminally online as we all are, and a lot of the media narrative is not giving us the full picture the way that the pink lady with the cell phone camera does, or the way that everyone else, where we're seeing all these aren't being shown everywhere if you're not looking for them necessarily. And that's really important to understand. And so these cursory bits of information that people get from it, these surface level stories that they hear on Whiskey Fridays on the CBS Evening News, that might be all they get sometimes.
It is.
So for my, for the suburban mom who just is again, I'm talking about personal experience, I'm not stereotyping, that just watches that for their news and then watches Entertainment Tonight, they don't understand. What do you mean there's another video where the cop is like clearly executing this guy, and this is not like what the 5 tells me in the morning when I watch Fox News, right?
Right.
That's why I said before, it's important where you hear pop culture figures or sports figures, because they are introducing the conversation to an audience that otherwise is not going to engage with it or outwardly look for it. Correct.
No, you're saying a lot of things that I'm really passionate about, and maybe sometimes too passionate about, but I don't mind throwing slings and arrows anymore at the folks that silo in that direction of it's just the reality. It's just the absolute reality. Like, not everyone, look at the numbers of any social media platform, even Twitter at its peak. It wasn't every person in the country that had a profile.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that just, because it's also weird that most of the time we're like, oh God, I hate social media. Why am I on it? And then at the same time, we're like, why doesn't everyone know every little thing?
Right.
I'm on Twitter. Didn't you see that post?
Right.
Like, no, I'm not on it, man. Like, hell, in Star Wars, and we don't talk Star Wars here in the Blathering. We'll leave that for Force Center. But normal, smart, intelligent, engaged Star Wars fans, some of them are still like, Darth Maul's alive?
Right.
Because the trailer just dropped for the show. Like, when did Darth Maul live? People don't know. It's and keep the Star Wars thing like that. I agree with the big change that's going to happen at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Why? Because no one knows who Vi Moradi is from a Star Wars novel. I do, and she's a great character. I don't want her removed from the park. She's great for a lot of things, including representation. But the reality is the family traveling from Australia is like, where's Darth Vader? And we can't be angry at them.
Yep.
I can't be angry at the family that spends $2,000 or more. Let's be honest, more to travel to Disneyland and be like, "Well, you telling me you didn't read Black Spire Outpost by Delilah S. Dawson? You didn't read that? You don't know who that character is? So take that out, spin that out into the world of politics in the world. That's why I get really There's some real fucking assholes who put thin blue line stickers on their big trucks and drive through suburban streets that don't need those trucks. They are seeing the news and going, got it. My friend Mike Beatrice, who's been on the show, kind of put a great post out there. Is like, hey, the reason you're seeing a lot of Second Amendment folks not stand up for this incident is because they don't see themselves as Alex Preddy. They see themselves as the armed agents. There's the one thing that went viral today of someone saying, let's be honest, the ICE agent, again, actually, it's a CPB agent, federal agent is Han Solo, Alex Preddy was Greedo. That went viral just today. There's those assholes, but then there's a lot of folks head down just trying to get through the earth and get through life. And I'm done being angry at them. I want to find a way to reach them because I think that can turn the tide. I don't think they're going on a general economic strike with us. Hell, I don't know if I can, right? That's the thing. Poor people spend more money to live.
Yes. And that's Ken, we don't have time to go down that thread of the rabbit hole, but that being part of the reality and the way the system is inherently designed and for the last 40 years and has been pushed that way for that very reason. That's why there's so much legislation in my research today and my reading.
Did you do your own research, Steve?
I did, but not for vaccines because I do what my doctor tells me. So much legislation was passed from like 1947 through Clinton, really, that was basically like, we're going to make sure that these poor people can never organize like this ever again. Union A cannot strike to support Union B, like all the different ways. Like the system is so set up to make sure that labor stays and keeps its place. We have a fuck you, I got mine economy, man. We're past 20 minutes, right? Yeah, 8:33. Yes. We're good. That's just. That's how the stack of cards is built. So, yes, I think to your point, for as many people that voted in the election, talking about turnout, right? It's like 77, 78 million a piece per side, right? There's close to 400 million people in the country. So that gives you an idea of kind of where we're at, like a little over a third of the country voting, whatever. That many people, Ken, probably couldn't tell you the difference between Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat. They just couldn't. Like it's social media. It's a thing. It's a thing that exists online, but they're just like, you know what, this is, I'm not just being an ageist here, but it's just like, just some people are just like, that's just not, I'm just not, that wave passed me by. I'm just not going with it. Look, I don't engage with a ton of it as much as I'm terminally online, but like on other stuff. But the idea, but like that's really hard for people who communicate and get information in spaces like this and YouTube and read Blue Sky and read social media to wrap that around to really get like, oh yeah, they like. That's my point.
No, and Rouge Star, not Rogue Star, Rouge Star 98 says, not to mention the algorithm is going to push different stuff to different people. So even if everyone was on one platform, they'd see all different things. Yeah, and that's the truth. That's a thing. You know, that's a thing. And that goes a lot of different directions. Not even like saying that on both sides things. You know, lefties, you're in your bubble too. No, it's not. I'm just talking about. There's some days where my algorithm is nothing but goddamn squirrels doing cute things. That's my algorithm sometimes. That, you know, or pro wrestling highlights, like, you know, Miami Dolphin highlights. You know what I mean? Dan Marino highlights. Now I get to see on Instagram now.
That's sad.
Instagram's like, oh, you don't care about politics this week, huh? You just care about Dan Marino? We got something for you. Got something for you. And no, he's the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL.
Yeah, but you're like your feel good highlights are from 30 years ago, 35 years ago, Ken. Like that just makes me sad.
Let me tell you something.
Your poor Dolphins. The Patriots are going to 10 Super Bowls. 10 Super Bowls the Patriots have gone to since your last playoff win.
Don't even start. But we'll get to it.
Sports later.
Anyways, I just wanted to have the start of this conversation. I think people know where I am. I think I don't always explain my position well. I'm not a debater. I did not go on the speech debate team in high school. I was good at speech. I did not want to do debate, so I did not do it. I get very flustered. I get very angry. Also, you know, that's fine. I got to know. I got to rely on smarter people like Steve and Professor Addy and other people out there. But also, I'm very passionate about like what is the end goal? What is the end goal? The end goal is to change this being what's going on, not just in Minnesota, but in our country. And it's to untangle a lot of people from Christian nationalism. It's to untangle a lot of people from just apathy, and to also put this in front of folks who, by no nefarious reasons, just see nothing because their life isn't affected. And instead of coming at them with anger first, I want to see if I can start pulling some of in. But also, by the way, as I've said, I look at some folks. I deleted several people of my life of Facebook this weekend because they are very aware, and they just post bullshit because they're bullshit people. And I think it's okay to cut them out because they're not gonna strike. They're not gonna vote with us. That's good. I don't need them to change. I need these people to get involved.
Yep.
And I don't always know the best ways to do it, but I wanted to have a conversation, at least with you today, about a general economic strike. Hey, what that? And I think we did that.
I think we talked about it for sure. How well informed everything was. I think we did fine for two guys at the end of the bar. I think we brought it. I think we brought enough. That's
going to be our spin-off podcast, by the way. Two guys at the end of the bar. We'll unfortunately have to go meet at a bar and record it, but and then Addie's just there going, oh, guys, phosphates are not soda pops. I mean, raspberry phosphates are, but there we go. There we go. Thank you, Steve. Let's take some calls here. If you've got some advice, or if you have thoughts on this too, about your thoughts on how this could pull off, or what would a general economic strike do to you? Because with this Ingvia, who's I'm going to continue to try to get the name right until he says Darina says I'm wrong. It's a serious question. Would it be okay to use PTO if we go on strike? And I was thinking today, I was like, all right, so I don't currently work at a job, right? I work online. So we there's a general economic strike. We're going to start this day until X day to see if we can change things. I couldn't stream, or I'd have to turn off all my settings. I'd have to stop my Patreon page. And the reason is because that's not just money that goes to me. If you give me a super chat, if you give me a $2 super chat, I might see $1.10 of that. So that's money for YouTube, and that would be also what we want to affect. So I was like, oh, that's what it would mean for me to stop all podcasts, stop all streams, actually quite stop all streams, because even if I demonetize this stream on replay, YouTube still runs ads. I just don't see any of it.
Right.
So this is a good question. And if I had PTO, I think I'd take it because I got to eat. But the question is it morally valid? So this is not a sinful confession segment, Steve, but what's your thoughts on that for you as someone who has two kids that need their McDonald's?
Yes, and this is a great question, because this is another thing that kicks off the conversation of what does action look like, and how do we localize that even with your own household, because literally none of the other conversations matter if you don't figure your own shit out first, right? Like if we can't realistically figure this stuff out, then we can't actually accomplish anything on a bigger scale. So what does that look like? Emergency fund hopefully is something that could keep you afloat for a certain amount of time if you're fortunate enough to be in that position and have something like that. PTO, is it morally valid? I wouldn't think it's not morally invalid. Like, I mean, what is morally valid is participation, is active participation in the way that the action is. General strike doesn't always necessarily mean everyone just holds up in their house literally like it was COVID. We shut everything off and we just start like making barrel fires. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to go that way. That's why I talked about earlier about, like, especially in a country like this with how complex our economy is, maybe that means you target specific sectors, or maybe that does mean you don't use the internet for a certain amount of time or something like that. But so I think that's where that happens. I don't think it's I don't know how to answer the PTO question, frankly, because I don't think I'm smart enough to be able to cover that. I'm not an expert on labor law or anything like that. I was a media major, but I would think participation, no matter how you do it, is the important part. If that means you're fortunate enough to be able to take PTO, then yes. I think there's all sorts, again, from all my research, there's all sorts of laws and at will to work states and everything like that says if
Yeah.
your company could probably can you for which way of reason if they wanted to, if they thought you were participating in a nefarious way using PTO, whatever, right? So
Sure. Yeah, look, hey, look, if you take it and you get it and the money's there, you're not running off to Disneyland, right? You know,
right, yeah.
You're also not
putting it on a
lighting
mattress.
You're not lighting barrel fires with. By the way, Laserbolt is our official barrel fire and campfire czar here.
Yes.
But yeah, no, but it's a good question. It's part of the
is.
logistics there. So
Yeah, it's the exact kind of question that needs to be asked, and people have to actually talk about if we're going to be serious about this shit.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's time to be serious about this shit, even though there's, again, things today. You got the Republican candidate of gubernatorial candidate, right, in Minnesota, pulled out of the Republican Party, who just 2 weeks ago was like, yeah, I'm offering the services to Jonathan Ross, the killer of Renee Good, and here he is 2 weeks later. And I do think there's this conversation around the phrase, this is a turning point. I always recommend Legia Miller's videos. She lives a mile away from this latest murder. And she had a video today with a lot of righteous rage about that phrase turning point, and that this is not a turning point, meaning the murder is not, oh, we're sliding into fascism. Her thought is, and her statement is, we've been there. And a lot of people have known we've been here, especially oppressed groups in our country for decades, if not centuries. So I think there's that part of it too. But I think there's a personally thing. I mentioned the cracks earlier. I think this is a turning point in terms of I mentioned on my Monday morning show, but like the NRA's second statement having a little kind of crack in their facade. They're not on our side. They'll never be on our side. But I think it was enough to make me sit up in my chair a little bit. Like, whoa, this I keep saying mayor, this gubernatorial candidate in Minnesota going, I'm out. I can't look my daughters in my face and do this. I do think we're reaching, and I don't want to say this naively, but or hopefully, like, Trump made fun of that, reporter with disability. He's done. Like, we've all lived through this is the thing that finally breaks it. But it is weird to see little cracks starting to form. Hell, even on the last trip, my father was like, we were walking and he saw the gas station in town. He goes, Trump said the gas was $1.99. It's $4. And that's the first time there has been any question. And that's before these shootings. So if there's any hope to look for, is to find those slivers of light and get in there and let's drive the wedge open a little bit more.
No, I think that's a great way to put it, Ken. I wish I was that opportunistic, because I feel like this news cycle is so fast and stuff happens so fast. As soon as the talking points get out there, we're on to the next thing anyway. And as long as the next talking point happens within a day or two, whatever ground we gained on extrajudicial killings in the street, we lose on, a trans swimmer Kate in third place, and they're going to lose their mind about it, kind of thing. So
right. There you go. And I like Rude. Rude start checking in on Twitter too, or Twitch, by the way. Thanks for that. If anyone gives you grief for using PTO to strike for the amount of time your PTO covers, then they don't care about you and are gatekeeping the cause. And I kind of agree with that too. I kind of agree with that too. All right, we're gonna and General Cameroni had a question here. We're gonna switch. Is this a call in with advice, or can one seek advice? General Cameroni, seek advice. But if you have advice, call in or put it in chat so we can see it here. Let's take a call from Evan. Evan, check it in. I love when he calls in. Also, I take his call first because he might be on the back of a big red truck. Evan, how are you doing, my friend?
Hey, Ken, I'm good. Sorry to disappoint, but I am not on the back of a big red truck now.
Just one time call in and pull the horn.
I'll try and work that out. It hasn't happened yet, but I will try to.
Okay.
I'll try to manage that for you.
You got it. How are you doing? What's on your mind?
What's on my mind tonight? Well, tonight's my last night at home with my wife and my son as a family of 3. We're going into the hospital tomorrow for her to deliver. So exciting, nervous, anxious.
Yeah. Well, you and Steve can compare notes on number 2s.
Yeah.
Hey.
We like number 2.
Awesome. Any need for advice? If it's about that, Steve's your man, not me. What's
well, yeah. Let's I'll pivot to that for Steve. Steve, what was that like for you going in for number 2?
you feel kind of like a basketball player who is like, kind of going into the first game for their second season. You're like, okay, I've been here before. I know what the stadium looks like. I know kind of how what the visitors locker room is like. I know the officials and everything. So it's like you kind of get the lay of the land. You're not just like an outsider. You're not getting like a tour like you're some kind of a tourist. You're there for business, right? It's a business trip. And so that's kind of how I handled it, at least. But it's important to keep those, especially those moments where it's just the three of you before the other kid comes in and is introduced, like where it's just, mom, new baby, and dad. Like, I cherish those moments for sure. To kind of like drink that in while you have that chance. Because you are going to drop the pacifier, and whereas before with the first kid, you disinfected it, washed it off with soap and water, dried it, gave it back, you're going to spit on that thing, wipe it on your shirt, and then put it in that kid's mouth, because that's life.
Definitely, yeah.
Is that what Haley Welsh was talking about? Just spit on that thing, pacifiers,
exactly.
for your second kid.
I think that was it. I can already feel we're kind of getting to that point with my son, who's 2. It's just like the precautions start to drop away. And yeah, but hopefully this time around, I delivered my son at the hospital, but it just so happened my wife went into delivering at the same time as 3 other women, and I'm wearing my uniform from work, and the doctor comes in the room and says, "You know how to do this, right?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "All right, I'm gonna go take care of the other 3."
Wait, what?
You don't get paid enough for that.
Wait, what? Wait! Did you turn out gear on? And the guy was like,
"No, I just like
you got this.
my station wear, like the
Okay,
the
you got this. Wow,
Yeah,
good for you, Steve. What have you done? Yeah, try harder, Steve.
Yeah, I just sat there looking scared and was like, when can I hold it or cut the cord, kind of thing. That was all.
yeah.
Cameron says, "Huck to a parent that thing." That is hilarious. All right, so I have a question for you, both of you actually. Brady has a question. When the second kid is on the way and you rush to the hospital, where does the older sibling go? Do you leave him in the car with the engine running?
Yeah, he's gonna stay home with grandma. Grandma's gonna hold down the fort till we get back. Although I could probably just leave him at the firehouse. So you guys got him. You could squeeze him in on this shift till we get back.
Yes. Just put a little baby Bjorn on the captain.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, we've got a fenced in yard in a doggy door, so she was fine.
She's good. We put a bowl of water down. What are you talking about? Evan, congratulations, man. Any other thoughts, questions, need for advice?
No, guys. Just stay safe out there. Have a good night and be cool.
We will. Thank you. Thank you, Evan. It's cold out there, right? Be careful. I'm sure you're getting a lot of extra calls.
Oh yeah.
All right. See you there. All right. We're going to take a call from Cameron. We're going to leave Jared top of the hour because we're talking a little sports, and he wants at us. He wants at us with those Patriots, man.
Bastard.
First of all, he's got to understand my anger towards the Patriots winning is based in and around just awe for how fast they were able to do it.
Well, you have personal hate. You're a Dolphins fan. You have a different level of hate and a different excuse for hate than the rest of the general world. Like Dolphins, Jets, and Bills fans, you guys have like not only is it a hate, Ken, it is not even a little sibling thing. Well, the Dolphins are one thing because you guys at least have some historical success. Yeah. For the Bills and the Jets are like the forgotten stepchildren of that division when it comes to like NFL royalty that considers the Patriots and the Dolphins. So for you to be hating the Patriots, that's different from like everyone else who just got sick of them winning all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like being the little brother who's, older brother gets like all the girls, gets all the attention, can go to whatever college he wants as the star quarterback, and you have like half a leg.
Well, yes. And also, and it's weird that we're in the AFC East. We should be in like the AFC South, but we're in the AFC East. That's us. We're the more historic team. We are the legends. We're the Shula Dolphins. We're the perfect season team. And the Patriots were this bumbling, dumb logo, bright red shirt franchise that got lucky into one Super Bowl and got smacked by the Bears. Steve Grogan's walking around as their quarterback with a neck brace on the entire time. Tony Eason, all that stuff. And then, Parcells gets them to a little bit different spot. And, but we're still there. And then suddenly it's like this 7th round pick with chubby cheeks comes in to replace Drew Bledsoe, and it hasn't stopped. And we, as you pointed out, thanks, Steve, haven't had a win in the playoffs since 2000. It hurts. It's like watching the little brother surpass you, and you'll never catch up. So that's where my hatred is, Jared.
Right.
We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
Get to that in a second.
We'll get to that. Okay.
We'll get to that. And we'll talk a little sports there. Let's keep with the advice calls. If you got some advice, you can post it here in the chat. Just put, you tell me what, do all caps advice and then ask your question so I can see it if it's easy to see. Super chats are always, of course, easier to see, but we've got some tonight. I appreciate you guys sharing there. Let's take a call from Cam Stewart. Cameron Stewart returning to the show tonight. General Cam Maroney, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're hanging in there, hanging in there. So what is it? Do you have advice or do you need advice?
Well, I really wanted to come in with advice to trade, but I'm seeking advice.
Okay. I do love a good barter system.
Yeah. Do we
Yeah,
get,
well,
like,
I felt
first
like-
round pick back or something? Like, how does this trade work?
Well, I mean,
What's
I
Ken's
can-
trade value on the advice market.
Well, there's can't attach a price to that.
This is how I
My-
get paid. So come on.
Well, my question is, so I wouldn't say I'm in a quarter life crisis, but
Okay.
I'm in a quarter life sort of reevaluation. And I guess I'm trying to, change up my routine, get a couple things. I don't know what the word, there's not like a big change, but I'm just trying to like make some
Okay.
change. And, oh, sorry.
No. I was going to ask your age range if you don't want to give your actual range. Franny wants to know too.
Yeah. Mid-20s. So smack dab in the quarter life
Yeah.
crisis
Absolutely.
window. And my advice I'm seeking.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Brady, right there with Brady.
Welcome to the club, says Brady.
My question is, how do you sort of take a leap of faith to make change when you don't necessarily need to change something? If that makes sense.
It does make sense. It becomes maybe from a spot of personal motivation. I went through a big quarter life crisis. I guess I'm in a midlife crisis, but as my friend Brian Tiller, lead singer of the Moonagers, once said, why do we call midlife crisis, why do we call it that in our 40s and 50s? We're closer to death. Midlife is like 35.
I was going to say, quarter life crisis at 25 is a little ambitious, right? That's like assuming you're getting into 100. Like, no offense.
Yeah.
I sorry, babe, but there's no chance in hell I'm making it to 100. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, it makes sense, Cameron, in the sense of like, I could keep going the way I'm going, right? I could keep surviving. I could keep living in my mistakes or living in my habits. A lot of what I'm going through right now. In fact, this week on a Monday morning show, I ended up talking about the world and the news of the day, but I was going to talk about unpacking regret. That's my big thing this week in therapy is unpacking the regret of 25 plus years in LA where I feel I've just been in the mud and I haven't made changes. Even when there's the ones I wanted, but there's a lot of times where you're like, I should make a change, but often you don't need to. Often you could just keep going and you'll probably be all right, or you'll sneak by, or you'll just be yourself still. But I'm like, oh, what are the habits that have led me here? There's wiring and upbringing, but there's also just like, do I really want to make this change? For me, a lot of times I love, when people in my life are like, yeah, I just started to eat better and I hit the gym and I lost 40 pounds. I've never been that guy. At Collider, I lost a little bit of weight going into it. I was in my best shape. But that's a different story. But like, I struggle to be that guy or that person that goes, I'm going to do that because I want to and can versus even need to. Yeah, sure. We all might need to be healthy, but I don't know if that makes sense back to your question, Cameron. It seems like you're ahead of it. You're ahead of it by going, I think I want to make some changes. You're already winning. You just got to do it.
Thank you. Yeah, that's totally it. I'm, like you said, I could keep going. There's nothing that's like a problem. Mm-hmm. So it's not like I have to change something or else some part of my life will fall apart. And I think the other challenging thing, and maybe this is where I can issue advice, from all of my years of wisdom, is something that I've been trying to realize myself when I'm, sitting here in my little first world problems bugging me day to day, and all this shit is going on in the world. It's hard to care about making change when I don't need to, when there's so much bad stuff happening, because I'm sitting here thinking, wow, I should really, like start going for a walk every morning, because I work remote. So I'm like inside all day, and I'm like, why do I care so much about these things when, people are dying in the street? So maybe my advice reflecting on that is it's important to care about yourself and those little things, especially in times like this. And I appreciate you saying what you said. It's helpful to hear from someone with wisdom.
I don't know if I have the wisdom. But yeah, no, I think you're right there, man. I think you're in a good spot, and make those changes. And yeah, in terms of it's easy to. I've always said, hey, look, your problems are your problems, no matter what's going on in the world, other people's lives, but also with what's going on right now. I don't think it's too cute sometimes to say protect your peace, but I think the sentiment behind it is accurate, which is you can't be in a good position to help or care about other folks if you yourself are struggling. And we sometimes need help from others. Sometimes we need help from professionals. Sometimes we need help from some sort of medications or prescriptions. There's all those kind of ways to get help. But you just going, I'm going to go for a walk, I think puts you in a better position to care about other people in a more effective manner, I think.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, appreciate you as always, Ken. You guys have a good night.
There you go. Thank you, Cameron. As Evan says, give yourself some grace. All right, we're going to take a call from our Canadian friend, Adam Knight. Is it fair to identify him as a Canadian, Steve, when they're an enemy of the state? Is it fair to set him up like that?
Well, this is how we get the Discord and the YouTube channel subpoenaed, Ken, because now we're going to be accused of talking with a foreign agent. I haven't registered anything with an embassy to say that I can do this legally. I know you sure as hell haven't. So let's see how this goes.
That's true. Then we got calls from Kyle talking about some sports analytics, and Jared's going to yell about how the Patriots deserve this win. But let's bring in Adam Knight here. He's got a great YouTube channel going right now. Check out Outlaw Radio, where he talks about a lot of the things that we just talked about change and making yourself better if you can. Adam, how you doing, buddy?
Well, I would love to say that I am in a terrific mood today, but then I'd be lying about how the state of the world is affecting my mood in ways that I would rather not ignore. It is a horror show ongoing. When I look at my neighbors to the south in Minneapolis, and I talk to my friends that are in the wrestling and the literary industry and the media industry and the arts industry down there that are struggling and they're scared, and it is brutal. And believe it or not, what happens down in the States to you guys tends to bleed up north towards us fellow maple syrup and igloo dwellers. It is it's a lot. And I'd planned to call in with some more coherent words, but what I'm really coming down to is today I find that I struggle personally, because it's had to be about me. I struggle with wanting to be the guy who knows how to say the right things and to be able to help. Right. And knowing that on some level, there's only so much any one of us can do. So as you guys are talking about the concepts of doing a general strike, or what sort of mobilization can you do? How do you convince the people who are unconvincible? Or how do you leave those people behind to speak to the people that are just living their lives and going on with what's going on here? Like this weekend, I participated in a wrestling event, and that was fine. And it was one of 2,000 probably happening across the country. But on the event I was on, in a small way, but much more so on several events that I know that happened in Western Canada, there were asshats who were so small-minded that were trying to, forgive me for saying this, use the situations happening in Minneapolis as a way to garner cheap heat on their events. In
a
ways
staple for the pro wrestling world.
Absolutely, right? In no way, shape, or form was, Sergeant Slaughter a traitor. The point is,
right,
it's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's disgusting in every way, shape, and form. And you try to reach out to these people, and I don't even know where to begin anymore. Once upon a time, the old school answer of like, well, you're an idiot, and I'm going to smack you around until you get your senses on straight is going to work. But
Mm-hmm.
If there's one thing we're learning from the good people of Minneapolis, who have done everything within their power to not respond to this ridiculous violence with what would be considered understandable return fire violence.
Mm-hmm.
I have to look at that as example as there is a way for us to continue to show that the best way to handle tyranny and the best way to handle oppression is by being unified and being empathetic and showing that sort of integrity going forward. Because what I don't want to talk Star Wars, but and darkness
You're
leads to
allowed.
darkness just leads to darkness, right? Only by showing people the light can people find their way through. So I'm sure I'm going to have more coherent thoughts on Wednesday when I do my own show, but I couldn't let this one go tonight without chiming in and just basically saying, I personally am hurting. I'm not looking for advice. I got no advice to effing give at this point in time, but we're all in this thing together, and there are more of us, Poe. There are more of us.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I feel it. And I think you're just sharing the advice you're given in your own way is when you're out and about in the world, you wrestling shows, me at comedy shows, and you see people go in the direction you're saying, and it's like what's actually effective, and this weekend I didn't see a lot of that, as I talked about on my show this week that I released this morning. There was a lot of dimmed lights behind eyes, both in the crowd and on stage. I think there's a feeling that this is something bigger and different. But anyways, I appreciate you, buddy, as always. And where can they find your show on Wednesday?
You can find me on my YouTube channel, Nightfall Productions, every Wednesday, 10 p.m. Central Time. I upload matches every Monday from the vault. They're going to be lovely old VHS captures. Well, I tell you, the quality is fantastic, but they're there, and I'm trying to get out there more. Guys, bless you all. Take care, everybody out there in the Blathering land, and be good to each other.
Absolutely. Be good indeed. Adam Knight, everybody. Check him out. Still tearing up the wrestling ring there, Steve. Any thoughts on that, Steve, before we move into sports?
I think Adam made some great points, and it's good to know there's still optimism alive and well in the world, Ken, and he's absolutely right that we can't lose. While yes, you could, tough action is needed to bring down tough issues. I appreciate his messaging that you still got to shine light on things in order for the light to keep shining. Because if everything is fire and brimstone, then what the hell is all this for anyway?
Yeah, no, and I agree. And I even agree. Abernathy in chat said, "Hey, with all due respect, that's not what we beat the Nazis the first time." Yeah, I agree with that too. But that's also countries, governments, militaries. This is us on the streets, and when you show up to work, the battles are there with the person at work who has the MAGA hat on, right, or the person at work that's got the thin blue line sticker. What is the most effective way to do it? And maybe sometimes it is a punch in the face. I don't know. I haven't got there yet. So I agree with that. All right, let's talk a little sports as we get on out of here. Because I am going to go hang out with some friends tonight, and that's what I got. I'm going to go hang out with some friends, and if my, any kind of this is kind of more serious show tonight, but a lot of us are getting together because of the state of the world. Because we also don't spend as much time around each other anymore. Because a lot of us used to work together. A lot of us used to see each other. And the world has put us apart, jobs, remote, social media, all those things that put us in our social silos. So a lot of us are choosing a Monday night to get together, have a drink, and just be around each other. And we'll talk about things or we're not talking about things. Doesn't matter. We're just there. And communities is where a lot of strength is fine. But sports is part of it too. And look, it is weird as a sports fan. This comes up a lot. It's just kind of more, we'll have some fun here. I'm going to yell about the Patriots. It'll be fun. But I mentioned this before. I'm a lifelong sports fan. I think sports and athletics are very valuable, not just as an entertainment, but I think as a life lesson kind of thing. You can take the wrong lessons for them, and many people have. In fact, our country maybe has. I think that's absolutely true, but I still believe in them. Also, it's a form of entertainment. And I don't need everyone on the teams I root for to agree with me. Some rise above, like baseball is most sports are conservative. Baseball's a very conservative sport. I don't go through baseball games worried too much about each individual player. It's those who rise above, who are outspoken, who are just complete assholes that I don't mind calling out, and even if they're on my team. But it was a weird weekend to watch 2 championship games, to watch flags be unfurled and national anthems be sung. It was hard to turn away from that. I don't know if you felt that at all, Steve, from your end. I imagine you did.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this is one of those heated conversation moments that I have ingrained in my brain, talking to my Reagan era Republican father about the whole Kaepernick, and I've never looked at a unfurling of a flag on a football stadium ever since that conversation. The same.
Yes.
But yeah, it's especially, but hey, they put hate ends with all of us, or end racism in the end zones, Ken. So at least they're fixing it that way.
They got it. Touchdown on racism.
But yes, it is. It's hard. It's hard to have that kind of pat on the back moment, and shake your fist when you see an F-15 fly over and all that kind of stuff, given the light of everything that's going on. And again, I'll just go back to, that's why I was really impressed with what you are seeing some athletes talk about. Especially in the NBA, and there's a lot of international sports figures talking about, like, hey, the World Cup is in the United States this year. Like, maybe we should do something about that. Blah blah blah, so stuff like that. So we can talk about that when we're ready to. But
yeah. But in terms of football, we had 2 great games. I got to say the playoffs this year have been very entertaining. There's been a lot of great games.
Yeah.
If your team lost, sorry, Steve, you probably don't feel it as much. But just as an NFL fan, great action all weekend.
Yeah, no, it has been, especially for a neutral. It's been a good. I mean, the teams are not, there's no Cinderella left necessarily, but the storylines are fun. It's a new. Don't look at me like you don't know what the hell we're talking about, Jared. When I say there's no Cinderella left, Jared's in the green room, like putting his arms up, like, what do you mean? But there's fun storylines, and yes, I enjoyed watching the games this weekend, and I have a tired stereotypical take.
Okay, hit me.
I get it that football is like hands in the dirt, and we're tough, and we play in the rain and the snow and the cold, and we're men. We're manly men, and snot and blood and cocaine and cigarettes at halftime. I get it. Whatever the hell that was in the second half of the Denver New England game, that's not how we should decide championship level sporting events.
You're one of those.
I'm sorry. I'm just one of these guys. Like, do you want the wild card in the divisional round in your shitty stadium that's being played in the Arctic? Sure, go for it. When we're playing like football that really matters, like the conference championship games and the Super Bowl, let's have it on like an area where we can actually play the sport. Because they weren't even playing the same game in the second. Again, this comes from someone who is a Philadelphia Eagles fan and watched Saquon Barkley run all through the snow against the Rams last year, and it was one of the greatest moments of playoff football for me. And I know I'm going to catch so much hell for this because I know I'm in the minority on this. I know. I get it. Look, this is the early confession for me. Okay, you're getting an extra one on a Monday. Okay, this is my bad sports take that I know is bad.
Look, you did preface it by saying it was a bad sports take. I'm not mad at you at all.
But this is like, I'm sorry, like I want the winner of the Super Bowl to be the best team, and I don't know if we can decide that when, like, you wouldn't let elderly or young children out in those conditions. Why are we deciding the AFC Championship game in them?
Because they're football players.
I know, but that's dumb. Like even hockey is a controlled environment, and they hit each other with sticks, and they have swords on their feet. Like basketball is on an indoor controlled environment. Everything that's important. The Super Bowl is in a controlled environment. Like I'm done. I'm sorry.
Look. I don't disagree with you. It's frustrating if you're the team that lost. But I'm a Miami Dolphin fan, and every goddamn year I have to hear, they can't go play in the cold. And you know what? We can't. Just like trust me, all you bleeps. If you came to Burbank right now, you'd be like, it's cold. I'd be like, yeah, it's cold, mother trucker. It's 56 degrees. It's normally 75 here. It's cold. So I get it. And it doesn't play fair, right? It doesn't play fair often. I just, as a fan, like, I texted Mark Ellis during the third quarter, and I said, we're watching a playoff game for a spot in the Super Bowl, and it's snowing. And Mark, this is why you and I stay single, so we can stay home to watch this stuff. This is why we do this. This is why I tune into football.
Let me be clear, Ken.
I loved that it got so snowy and icy.
I love watching football in the snow. it's great. The Detroit Eagles game where LaShawn McCoy had like 1.5 million yards against the
Right.
Lions, and there was like
Right.
4 feet of snow. It was amazing to watch. I don't want that for my championship game in my Super Bowl. Is all I'm saying. Like,
well, they
we're
don't.
playing
But they
big
don't
boy
do it for the
football.
Super Bowl.
I know. Why, Ken?
don't do
Why
the
don't they
Super
do it
Bowl.
for the Super Bowl? Other than the fact that it's a giant
Money.
commercialized
It's
just
a money
product.
thing.
And
Right, I
know.
get
I know.
I
But
get that.
like, we're playing big boy football now. Okay, these games are like really, really, really important. Can we make sure that like we're playing it so like the teams are playing football and not like,
that is football.
Tony Romo and Jim Nance didn't know what fucking yard line the kick. They didn't know how long the kick was.
I
Ken, they
don't
were
know
talking
if
about,
Tony.
Like, I don't know. It was.
I don't know if Tony Romo knows. Anyways, no. By the way, I'm going to defend Tony Romo. I like him as a color commentator. I think Brady's creepy and weird. I don't care if he's smart. I don't think he's a good color commentator. Also, Brady's not funny, and he was making a lot of jokes during that Rams Seahawks game. And I was like, oh, this dude thinks he's funny. This dude is Brendan Schaub of announcing. Like, oh my God. Romo is actually okay as a color. I think he's okay as a color commentator, and he like gets things right. Oh God, where was he? Yeah, okay. But Tony Romo said something that I agreed with, and there, Roger said it. Broncos lost because their coach refused to kick a field goal in the first half, and I'm so torn on analytics in sports because I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad as a player. And I've had this conversation before. I've said it before on my networks of programming. I asked I have an old friend that played in the major leagues, and I asked him, "What do you think about like exit velocity and spin rate?" And he goes, "Look, man, if anyone in your fantasy baseball league is worried about that stuff, they're fools. That means nothing to you. It means everything to us. Because if you can scientifically analyze how to swing better and where and what that's very valuable to us." And that kind of changed my mind on analytics. But I to watch what's this Peyton Bounty Bowl guy, Broncos head coach.
Yeah. Sean Payton.
To watch him not take the points in a championship game because some chart, some Google sheet with some formula on it told you not to. That you deserve to live at that point. Snow aside, that's a different issue than what you're talking about.
Yes.
But,
no.
But also,
Again,
you got the weather report, so you know the snow's coming. You know Will Lutz is going to kick while he's ice skating. Yep. One of the best kickers in the league, and he had no chance.
Yeah, and to be fair, he's kicked what should have been a decent ball. That one kick got tipped.
Yes.
So the Patriots got a hand on it. So some dude that was like, guy was like stacking, grocery boxes 2 weeks ago, ended up, tipping the ball. I think he was fine from the practice squad. So good for him.
See, there you go. Physics Buddy Joe says, I was in the stands in Denver and could barely see the field of snow, and it was excellent.
I'm sure. The coldest I've ever been in my entire life, Ken, was sitting in Lincoln Financial Field for the playoff game against the Falcons when the Nick Foles Super Bowl team, and right. I couldn't feel a single extremity in my body. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I still drove home thinking to myself, it was so effing stupid that we play football in that. Like, that's just dumb. Like, we've advanced far enough as a species to, like, not do this to ourselves.
I look, if the Dolphins lost that game because we traveled to Denver and it was snowing and Pete Stoyanovich tried to kick a 30-yard field goal. And then Will Lutz later said, like, part of the reason the kick was blocked is we didn't know how far back. He's supposed to be 7 yards. That's the typical thing, 7 yards back from the snap. And he's like, we didn't know. We were like probably a yard closer. I get that. But then that's when, you're the home stadium. You should have had convicts with blowers and tractors. If anyone knows that NFL reference, look that up, which affected my Dolphins. I agree with it. So I guess so the analytics said kick the field goal. Yes. And he didn't. Yeah. Okay. And he didn't. Right. Anyways, I remember watching live, not in the stadium, but watching on TV, the Bears-Eagles Fog Bowl game. Mm-hmm. And it's one of the greatest memories of my childhood. So maybe that's coloring my opinion on your hot take, Steve. All right. I got to actually start to prepare to go. Kyle Harlow's got, I'm going to bring Kyle. Kyle's got some stuff on stats, and we're going to close with Jared because it might get loud. Kyle, welcome back to the show, buddy. How are you doing?
I'm good, Ken. I'll try to make it quick.
You're a hero.
So, yeah, I say this as someone who's always liked math and sports statistics, and I don't mean to treat you like Steve Martin treated Edie McClurg in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. But if I have to bleep and hear about bleep and analytics one more time and bleep in football, I'm going to bleep and scream. You have teams that are going for it on fourth down from like the 20, 25, or 30 and passing on easy field goals in these playoff games, and they're losing these games by 3 points or less. And like you just said, I'm sure Sean Payton can sleep well tonight knowing that analytically he played the game perfectly. Maybe, I guess somebody said the analytics said not to go, but I just assume every fourth down attempt is powered by analytics. But yeah, he doesn't get to go to the Super Bowl, but he played the analytics right. Great.
Okay, so actually, I love this tag too. Like Steve and I talked about robot umps a while ago, and I think even going to your stadium thing, Steve, is I want a little bit of the humanity in sports. I don't want them all to be in domes for that.
There's
but
300-pound people crashing into each other. There's plenty of humanity. There's no lack of humanity.
That's not humanity. That's not humanity. That's the humanity. But I where do you come down on this? I agree with Kyle here because it's points on the board. And look, if it's 4th and 2 and you get it, you're a hero. And I get it. Yeah. Big risk, big reward. And I think that's part of the fun of sports too. But I'm a take the points guy. Steve, where do you come down on this and Kyle's thoughts?
I'm usually a take the points guy. I think with Sean Payton, he's a little full of himself. This is the guy who opened the second half of a Super Bowl with an onside kick against Peyton Manning. Sean Payton loves himself some Sean Payton and some ooh, look what I did there kind of things. I think there is an element of that. Sean Payton would be the first guy in the press conference asked, "Why did you go for it instead of taking the play?" Well, because 6 is more than 3, right? Well, like I could totally. Right. Sean Payton is the guy who would say that, right?
Right.
I think he also realized I have a backup quarterback who's a bit of a bum, and we kind of showed our whole hand on that first drive that was scripted and went like beautifully, and now I got to hope to God I can win a game on 7 to 13 points, and so that's why I would have kicked the field goal. But I think Sean Payton just loves some Sean Payton.
Yeah, by the way, it is a way different game if Bo Nix is in there that we know, and it's horrible. That's part of the sports too. Kyle, but no, I feel you. But do you take my point, or at least the point that was told to me by a former major leaguer of how it is for training and bettering yourself as a player? Analytics can be good, but you're just there for you want coaches to go with their guts more, right?
Well, I think the analytics game theory, I question the context of the stats they're basing these analytics on, because I think going for it on 4th in like week 4 is different than going for it in the playoffs with the season on the line. Every possession is more important. Coaches and players, everyone's a little tight, everyone's a little nervous, and these games are a lot tighter, and these points are a lot more valuable than they are in the regular season.
Yeah, look, I'm a big fan of Mike McDaniel. I wish him all the luck wherever he ends up, because I thought he was going to the Chargers, but now he might go to the Raiders as a coach. But if I'm rooting for him. I don't care if he's in our division, even if he was to go to the Bills. I really do like Mike McDaniel. I think it just wasn't working out for a lot of reasons. But I'm so glad I don't have to watch the Dolphins go for it on 4th and 6 with a dump off screen pass 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. I'm so happy I don't have to watch that again. So happy. Kyle, that was a great call. I really appreciate it, buddy.
All right. Thanks. See you guys.
All right. Kyle knows how to do it. He's a Sports Talk Radio veteran there. Let's bring in Jared, the Tide Pilot, calling in from the great state of Massachusetts. All right, Jared.
Sweet Caroline.
Wah, wah, wah. Okay. Take me through your joy. By the way, as I said up top, I really mean it. I am jealous that your team went from one of the worst in the league, fired their coach after 1 year, bring in Vrabel. He even grew that damn mustache for a month, and they're back in the Super Bowl with a new quarterback. I'm jealous of that. So that's where I start. How are you feeling?
Oh, listen. There are kids in kindergarten who have never seen a Patriots,
You got
and,
damn right.
Also, just to go off of Steve's awful sports opinion, you know how football solves this? They become a real sports league, play more than fucking 3 games a season and 1 game per fucking, fall playoff. You have a nice best of 7 series. All of a sudden, the one snow game, doesn't make Steve's panties in a bunch here.
Okay, I didn't follow.
Jared's trying to murder people.
He is. Well, this is what massholes do. Well,
this is hockey elitism. That's what this is. This is hockey elitism because hockey players are crazy people who play like 4 or 5 hockey games a week. But that's also because they're getting subbed out constantly. and they aren't 300 pounds running the fastest 10-yard dash you'd see in your entire life. People don't appreciate how big, fast, and strong like football linemen are. That's why we can't play every day, because those guys will die if you make them do that 3 days in a row.
Well, then you just have better position players. You sub them out. You figure this out, like, you know, big boys.
We don't need to fix football. It's the greatest sport in the world. There's no need to fix it. You're an asshole because your team has gone to too many Super Bowls and no one's, you know, it's ridiculous. Like, you're supposed to suffer for a little while. You can't just reload like this. This is a salary cap sport. The rest of, like, again, now I'm an elitist because my team won the Super Bowl last year, so I'm like that.
Oh yeah, let's not even talk about
looking
you,
down
Philly, you
at the rest of you guys.
Eagles
I'm,
fans.
you know, yeah. So don't get me wrong. I'm totally looking down on the rest of you anyway. But like, imagine in a salary cap sport, how the hell did we let this team do this again? Like the sport is designed to reward being shitty for 30 years, Ken. Why have the Dolphins not got, like, how do you let this happen?
Well, see, and you know, the Dolphins over the last couple of years go through their rebuild that fails, and it failed. And again, I like McDaniel, and he's not the only one. By the way, he was saddled with a GM that I think was just absolutely bad at his job. Laughed at reporters when they were like, "You don't have any offensive linemen 2 years ago." And he was like, "We'll worry about that," and they did not. But I think for me, watching it again, this is why I say with awe, and Drake May is great. It's like the Dolphins got a new coach, and they go to the press conference with the new GM, John Eric Sully, and Jeff Hafley, and the press conference is basically like, we're going to suck for a couple of years, and we do have cap issues, but we're going to suffer. And I'm over here going, mother truckers, New England suffered for 1 year.
Right. Yeah,
give me some hope. Like, and poor Laserbolts in chat is like, there are 89-year-olds who have never seen the Lions make the Super Bowl. And look, I hate to say it because he's I think a Trump supporting dipshit, but Robert Kraft, he turned that franchise around.
Yeah, Robert Kraft, Tom Brady, they're terrible human beings.
Man, damn it. There's got to be a turnaround and a hand job joke in there somewhere. I'm just not clever enough to like put it together for Robert Kraft. I just can't. Like, I'm that close. Like the massage turnaround. Like, there's something there, right?
Yeah. We gotta. Kyle's. This is the best use of the somehow Palpatine return joke about the Patriots getting to the Super Bowl. Somehow Palpatine. Return.
It's so obvious.
Cloning,
like,
dark
It
magic.
was the first thing I thought of. It's ridiculous.
Anyways, congratulations, Jared. What's your overall thoughts? How you feel, and do you want the NFL to play in snow games?
Of course I do.
This is like turning into music. Like, this is not the take. The take is not, should we play in the snow? The take is the championship games and the Super Bowl should be played in controlled environments. That's the shitty take, and I understand it's a shitty take. But don't turn my take into don't play football.
Give me a Super Bowl on. Well, the Vikings play in a dome, so not them. Give me a Super Bowl at like Soldier Field or at the Bills Stadium. You know, in New England would be nice, but I want guaranteed bullshit for the Super Bowl.
I mean, I guess I'm a hypocrite when it comes to Steve's opinion, because I'm like, not in the Super Bowl, but then why in the championship game? I just, it's because snow is. I don't get this. I don't get snow. I want to go roll around in the snow.
Oh, wild card weekend, divisional round, snow, week 18, the last 10 weeks of the season when it's cold in the whole northern part of the country. Great, all the snow you want. We're playing big boy important football now. Can we make sure we're playing actual football?
Oh, there it is. Laserbolt doing my favorite thing.
Laserbolt, and someone else in the chat suggested this earlier. Like, they're definitely cheating. What ball has been deflated?
Yes.
Jared, what ball has been deflated?
Feel my balls. Yes, that's it. Find my cameraman. You know, come on. All those fun things.
All right.
One thing about Spygate, though, that was actually my friend who was videotaping on orders of Belichick.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait.
You just now tell us this? What are you doing?
Wait a minute. What can you disclose without getting you or anyone here in trouble?
Oh no, it was legal. He was told to go film just for the hell of it. Then they caught him. They confiscated his camera, and he never got it back nor compensated for it.
Well, see, that says a lot.
That's what you get for being an intern.
That's what, Belichick saying, on to Cincinnati with your damn camera. Look, but you hear that. You hear that, Steve, right? Jared was saying he was just doing his job, and that phrase has never worked well in history.
No. Yeah,
we are the evil empire.
Jared. Well, at least they're self-aware for that. At least they're self-aware enough.
That's amazing. Okay.
They know.
All
who
right.
the bad guys are.
We don't have the updated odds and anything, so we're not doing our official pick. But
Not yet.
Jared, what does your heart tell you? What do you think about the Seahawks?
It's gonna be an interesting game. It's just
hear the doubt.
No.
Yeah,
But they're winning. It's which Drake May shows up. You know, is he gonna be running or is he gonna be throwing? If he's running, low scoring game. If he's throwing, I smell a shootout.
Okay. All right.
So it's either going to be something like 42-35 or another like fucking 10-7 game, which nobody wants for the Super Bowl.
Nah, 45-42 would be great for me. Physics buddy Joe says Seahawks are going to crush them. They're a good team. They're a good team. All right, Jared, we hate you. We don't want your team to win, but we know they're good.
All true.
So everybody send me your tears. I'm thirsty.
All right, there we go. We'll do our official picks of the Super Bowl later. Thank you, Jared. All right, we are getting on out of here. I went a little bit of over. Great conversation, Steve. Thanks for letting me have that with you about the general economic strike, and thanks to all who called in and shared. And Franny is whining too. She agrees. We'll be back Thursday. I was supposed to have a guest tonight for the headlines. We're going to do that next week. We got Sinful Confessions. Jerry the Cannon Junkie's ready to call in with some paranormal updates, and we're going to have a lot of fun Thursday. So thanks to those that watch tonight. Subscribe if you haven't already. Go ahead and join the Patreon page at patreon.com/Napzok. I'm going to drop a new pop rock radio this weekend and a stand-up set as well. So that is it for now. My dog really wants to go. We'll see you all next time. Bye.